What's up, guys? Chris here to talk a little post-fight action for some of the stuff that went down on Saturday night. If you saw my previous video, no, I ended up not going to watch bare knuckle boxing at the bar. Initially I'd planned on it, but then when I looked at how many fights were coming on, I forgot about the HBO card. I'm like, man, that's like 18 fights. If I'd have went and watched that bare knuckle boxing, that would have been 28 fights. I don't know about you, but that's fight fatigue. I mean, I watched fights from 1 o'clock when the UFC prelim started until I'm on West Coast LA with Showtime. So the Showtime broadcast, Berto Soto crossed in until midnight. So I watched fights from 1 to midnight straight. So yeah, by the time that was over, I was tired. If I would have went and watched that bare knuckle boxing, can you imagine? So yeah, I didn't go watch that. But anyways, I want to talk about that Knockout Kings 2 card. First off, Showtime, Golden Boy Promotions, they need to make this an annual event. Second year in a row that this event has paid off. Last year you had Maidana Soto Cross and Canelo Josecito Lopez. This time you had the fight between Thurman and Chavez. That was a good, solid opener. Then, of course, you had probably the fight of the night between Omar Figueroa and Nahito Arakawa. Great fight. Early on, looked like Figueroa was going to take him out, especially in that first round. He just absolutely blitzed Arakawa. And I'm not very familiar with Arakawa. I honestly, it's the first time I've seen him fight. So I just figured he was an overmatched kind of guy. But man, he came back hard in that second round after getting blitzed in the first round. And that seemed to be his MO throughout the fight. You would think that Figueroa had this guy hurt, had him on the verge of going out, and Arakawa would come back the next round and just pour it on. It was like Figueroa would go all out for one round, get close to getting the stoppage, punch himself out, and Arakawa would just get right back in there, dig to the body, dig to the head. It's unfortunate that Arakawa didn't have more power, because if he did, he would have had a better chance of winning this fight. But if nothing else, I think he won over fans, man. How can you not respect a guy with that performance? I got to be honest, but I think the 8th, 9th round, Arakawa was really getting beat down. That I was starting to swell up. I'm like, man, they could stop this fight now, you know. Maybe his corner should save him. They didn't. And maybe it's for the best. I mean, who knows? But Arakawa came back hard in those last few rounds. I actually think he had won the 11th and 12th round, so I guess the stoppage maybe wasn't necessary when I thought that they should have done it. And I wasn't the only one calling for a stoppage at that time from what I saw on Twitter later on in the night. But just a hell of a fight. One of the best fights this year by far. Definitely up there in the top 5, if not top 3. Good fight. Good win for Figueroa, but man, with that style, I know he's a prospect, but I don't know how long of a career he's going to be able to have fighting like that. And, of course, the main event, Jesus Soto's Cross versus Andre Berto. A fight that I favored Berto, and I didn't make a prediction of it, but I favored Berto in this fight. But yeah, it was a good fight. And I was surprised that Soto Cross hurt Berto that early in the fight. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? This is like someone like Berto versus Ortiz. But Soto Cross isn't known for really having that kind of power. Of course, Berto came back strong in the second round. Looked like we were going to have a really good fight back and forth. And then Berto hurt his shoulder. Unfortunate. I actually thought the fight might be stopped by the corner or by Berto. But I'm not a fan of Berto. Never have been. But I give this guy credit. He hung in there for 12 rounds with Robert Guerrero, with basically being blind at the end of that fight. And he hung for 12 rounds in this fight, basically fighting with one arm for, 8, 9 rounds? I mean, obviously he had used that arm, but it was limited of that right. But he still made a hell of a competitive fight. Just using that left jab and left hooks, he still made it a competitive fight. So you got to give him credit for that as well. And it looked like he actually might have gained momentum when he knocked Soto Cross down left around with that body shot. But I don't know what happened. It flipped a switch in Soto Cross. Soto Cross got up and beat the living hell out of Andre Berto for the remainder of that round. If you had not seen the first 30 seconds of that round, you would have thought Soto Cross would have been the guy that scored the knockdown in the beginning of it. 12th round, Berto just really had not much left. He tried, but that 11th round really took something out of him, and Soto Cross got him with that left hook. It was a solid punch. Good counter, no doubt. They always say the punch you don't see is the one that's going to hurt you the most, but I didn't think it was like a huge fight in there. But man, when Berto got up, he was definitely on shaky legs. Good stoppage by the referee, in my opinion. Really good win for Soto Cross. I mean, this guy was just getting stopped like, a year and a half ago by Gabriel Rosado? Like, he was done. I mean, granted, that was a junior welterweight, but man, he's making a bit of a run, even after getting stopped by Maidana last year. And as for Berto, his days contending for a title are at the top. I think you're done, man. That Guerrero fight was tough. The Ortiz fight was tough. And this fight definitely looked like took something out of him. I mean, he needs to take a long break. If and when he comes back, they need to give him some soft touches. Even if I'm not a fan of the guy, I respect the guys to get in there. And I don't want to see this guy get hurt long term. Elsewhere, HBO card, not a whole lot to say. Strada looked good. What's his name? Zhu Jiming. He's entertaining. This guy, if he wins the title, man, I don't know how they're going to maneuver it. Maybe he can. I don't know you never know. Anyway, it's not hard to get guys titles to maneuver them. But it's going to be hard for him to win a title. I don't know how much success he's going to have in the pro ranks, but he's fun to watch. But they obviously have to match him very carefully. But yeah, I don't know. My overall take is, once again, not once again, but they don't do it every time in and out, but every time out. But Showtime Boxing killed HBO Boxing on Saturday night. No contest. And as for the UFC, it was solid. Nothing really special. That Rory McDonald, Jake Ellenberger fight that I made a video for, terrible, terrible fight. Jake Ellenberger, where were you? What was your game plan? Rory McDonald, whatever, you got to win, but man, make a statement. Good win from Demetrius Johnson in the main event, pretty much dominated that fight. And fight of the night, in my opinion, Ed Herman versus Trevor Smith. Hell of a brawl that started off the good overall day night of fights early on. And my boy Melvin Yard absolutely brutalized and hammered out Mac Danzig, so that was good to see. That's it for now. I'll be talking about all these fights a lot more in depth on today's Science Finds Radio Show. I'll be doing that shortly. If you can't catch it live, podcast on demand. Links to that and everything else Science Finds and Twitter-related information as always. Want to hear your thoughts on anything boxing, MMA, UFC related that took place this weekend. But until next time,